Never let anybody see you sweat. So I was born in New York City, and I lived there until I was 8 years old. I realized that I was a much better talker than I was a listener. I don't know what to say, I just don't like what you're saying.
Sorry, Your Honor.
I ended up going to law school at Georgetown, and I was a prosecutor for Janet Reno. I loved it because it was so raw. Were you cheating on her?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
All rise.
Our show will be a mixture of education, I think you're misreading the law a little bit, and entertainment. My main goal is justice and the law. That's been my legacy, and the legacy I hope to continue into the future with the show.
Pamela Henson claims her landlord failed to fix problems in her apartment, so she paid for the repairs herself and wants to be reimbursed. Charles Johnson says the work was purely cosmetic and done without his approval.
Ms. Henson, you are suing Mr. Johnson for $975 that you want to be reimbursed because they're all repairs that he wouldn't do. Tell me, how long have you been, you rent a place from him, correct?
That's correct, Your Honor. Mr. Johnson's been my landlord for the past 8 years.
Okay.
It's a rental-controlled unit, so it was $1,800 for a 2-bedroom when I first moved in.
Okay.
At first, the repairs were completed in a timely manner. I was directed to make all of my repair requests through our building manager grant. And after a couple of years of living there, I noticed that the amount of time that I would have to wait in between repairs would be longer. After some recent repairs I was having difficulty getting done, I overheard the building manager speaking with a handyman, saying that they don't want to prioritize these rental-controlled units because they're priced below market value and they don't make a profit off of them, which I just don't think is fair. I shouldn't have to live in an unsafe...
Who did you overhear say that?
I overheard the building manager
Grant. Speaking to whom?
The handyman.
Do you have any other evidence of that, of hearing that?
I don't have any evidence of hearing that. However, I do have evidence to show that of the repairs that needed to be made.
Tell me about the repairs that you're suing for here today.
Sure. So the first was a damage that was caused after the handyman had come in to unclog the sink. Basically, I opened the cabinet below the sink after the handyman came in to work on it, and there was extensive water damage underneath the sink. When I reached out to Grant about that, I didn't hear back from him, and I eventually...
Well, did the water damage continue?
Yes, Your Honor. I have some photos, some before and after photos of the...
If there's water damage, it's gonna continue even after you replace the wood. So nobody ever came to fix a leak after that?
No, Your Honor.
And so you got tired of waiting and you ended up replacing the bottom of the sink?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, do you have a picture of it?
Thank you.
All right, well, it looks kind of nasty. If your system was to text Grant, do you have the text that you sent to Grant about each of these things?
At this unit, I was told just to call Grant.
Okay,
So I would call him on the phone.
Okay.
Sometimes I would text him.
All right, so you ended up taking care of it, and that cost how much?
For that repair, it was $175 for the parts.
What other repair are you suing for today?
So the other 2 repairs or 2 damages, one was water damage on the ceiling in my office.
Do you have a picture of that?
Yes, Your Honor.
And had you complained to Grant about that?
Yes, Your Honor. I reached out to Grant and I wanted them to check to see if there was any type of water damage. Clearly from the photo you
water
can see...
stains come from a leak, and
Yes.
so that's either they repaired it already and then just didn't bother to repair your ceiling. I don't know. How long had that been there?
Your Honor, that had been there for 6 months, and it was in my home office where I have to store some pretty expensive equipment.
Okay, and so did you reach out to Grant about that one?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, and then you ended up just having that painted by someone?
So I ended up having to repair that myself and have it inspected for mold myself because Grant said that it was purely an aesthetic repair.
Okay.
Which I disagreed with.
Did you find mold?
The person who repaired it tested it for mold and painted over it
Okay, but the person who repaired it is not usually a real mold tester. He'll go and then he'll say, yeah, that and plus it can develop into mold if you leave wet drywall up there like that without taking care of it somehow and painting it with Kills and then. So it needs attention. All right. So what did this cost you?
This one was.
So you didn't actually test it for mold with a mold expert, right?
No, Your Honor.
All right. So what did this cost you?
So for the cost of the mold-resistant paint and all of the painting
Kills.
equipment, it was $100.
$100. All right. And what else are you suing for?
The bar top for the wet bar.
What was wrong with that?
So it had become loose, and it's a pretty heavy laminate countertop that had become loose and started wobbling. So when I was
How did it become loose?
It just was normal wear and tear.
Coming up on Justice for the People.
That's not okay. I get it, that stuff happens, but then you don't just show up outside the time range without having said, I'm delayed, and letting her know and working it out.
If you'll be in the Los Angeles area and want to bring your case to court, call 1-888-552-6878. You're watching Emmy-nominated Justice for the People with Judge Milian. We're back with a dispute between Pamela Henson and Charles Johnson over apartment repairs.
How long had you lived there before it became loose?
I would say about 3 years, Your Honor.
Okay, and then you told Grant the table is loose?
So the table started to become a little bit loose, and then as it became more wobbly and less stable, then I notified Grant. The repair was denied because Grant was telling me that it was basically an aesthetic issue.
Well, not if it was wobbly. What did you tell Grant, that you didn't like it?
No, I told Grant that it was wobbling and posing a potential risk.
Okay, and did Grant go and take a look at it?
No, Grant.
Where's Grant? Is Grant here? Because Grant's got all the evidence I need to get. And Grant is, I can't help but notice that unless you're Grant, and I'm pretty sure you're not, I'm missing a key component here. But according to you, you told him it was wobbly.
It was.
And can I see the before and after pictures of that?
Yes, Your Honor. I also had someone come take a look at it, the person who installed the new countertop.
And you want them to pay for that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Not to pay, $50 to secure it, but to pay $700 to replace it.
So
The contractor what? Said, no, there's no repair.
The contractor had recommended that I replace the countertop.
Oh, don't be ridiculous. That's not his call. Let me hear from you, Mr. Johnson. What's going on? I don't even know how you're going to testify because I don't know what you could possibly know.
Well, what I do know is, Your Honor, from various text messages from Grant and from Freddie that we have copies of in correspondence, some to me, some internally, because they don't report everything to me, just what we need to do and what's on the checklist, the punch list that we need to do, which is prioritized not by when we receive it, but by its urgency. Urgency determined by safety, health, et cetera.
Right.
We'll talk about the bar for a moment.
Yeah.
When we were notified about this...
Open with the bar. That's your big open.
Exactly.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Don't we all need a drink around here?
Right.
Okay, so we did send a message to her via text. I have a copy right here if you'd like to see.
I would.
Okay. Actually, we have several here that I'll be referencing, so I might as well give this.
Thank you.
That's all the text messages, yes.
So go ahead. Talk to me.
So this is from Grant. Grant's messaging to Pamela that Charles had asked me to take a look at the bar counter you had mentioned.
All
so
right,
Grant said that he then knocked several times, but there was no answer. So he sent me a note.
I was asleep and I didn't hear you knock.
Correct.
Okay.
So this was, just pointing it out, 11:14 p.m. 9:14 p.m. is when apparently this text went out. So we were on it urgently. We don't usually work after hours.
Right, but you do have to make a plan. You can't just say, "Hey, I went to your place. You weren't there." Yeah, no, because I do things.
Yes.
So it was 9:14. You might. She was asleep. She responds at 11:03. It's a Friday. I don't know. Then here's another one from November 18th. Hey, Pamela, I'm outside your door for the sink repair. Knocked a few times, no answer. Got to head to another unit. And she says about an hour later, I just saw this. I was waiting from 1 to 3 like we said, but had to step out. Sorry, had another emergency come up before yours. Let me know another day you're home. Right, but see, that's not okay. I get it, that stuff happens, but then you don't just show up outside the time range without having said, I'm delayed, and letting her know and working it out. So this one doesn't make her look bad, makes you guys look bad. All right, this one, okay.
To that point, just the urgency in which we responded there, because we don't usually show up.
All right, well,
in the
let's
evening.
talk about the things she's suing you for.
Yes.
Let's talk about the bar. You don't feel like you should pay $700 for the bar because?
Because the bracketing that is on the bottom when she moved in was in perfect order. She didn't complain until a few years in, after she had and hosted several raucous parties at our other
Raucous?
tenants.
How do you know they were raucous?
Oh, we got some complaints from other tenants.
Okay.
So
what are they doing on the bar?
Your guess is as good as mine, but I'm sure it was a lot of fun. I wasn't invited.
All right, now talk to me about the ceiling, because I wouldn't tolerate this for 10 minutes if I was your renter.
I do understand that. However, she does have an upper unit, and because it's an upper unit against the roof line, the rains revealed some of the roof repairs that we needed to address, and we are still in that process. We haven't gotten to her particular ceiling yet. But there's no point in...
Why wouldn't you start in her ceiling if she's a top one?
We have several that actually have greater damage, or this is not damage, this is more of an aesthetic, but it is revealing...
Yeah, I don't feel that way. I think it's gross to have to work underneath that. And I think that, you know, you said you waited how long before you took it upon yourself?
I waited 6 months, Your Honor.
That's a long enough time to get to it. I don't know if you've got one person handling 40 buildings. I don't know how this works, but are you here to dispute that she was waiting 6 months, or you agree to that, but you just don't think this is important?
Not that
I mean, you got to stop the mold growth.
Yes, we don't want to paint that before we fix the leak above. And that's in the process.
Say that again, what you just said.
We would not want to...
No, of course not. So maybe you should fix the leak above.
Exactly.
Exactly. That's my point.
And that is what we're doing.
So fix the leak above so that she doesn't have to live with that, you know, mold. Mold that's only going to get worse if you're not fixing the leak above.
Coming up.
Your Honor, I waited a couple of weeks, but Grant basically said that since the clog was fixed, that the repair was finished.
Oh, he said he wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
Right.
Next time on Justice for the People with Judge Milian.
The handyman had come in to unclog the sink. After some recent repairs I was having difficulty getting done, I overheard the building manager speaking with the handyman, saying that they don't want to prioritize these rental-controlled units because they're priced below market value and they don't make a profit off of them, which I just don't think is fair.
Next time on Justice for the People with Judge Milian.
She didn't complain until a few years in, after she had several raucous parties at our other
Raucous?
tenants.
How do you know they were raucous?
Oh, we got some complaints from other tenants.
Okay. Did you ever tell Grant, don't prioritize the people who've been here a long time because they're paying too little rent?
Not in those words.
You're watching Emmy-nominated Justice for the People with Judge Milian. We're back with a dispute between Pamela Henson and Charles Johnson over apartment repairs.
Okay, this one cost you how much?
Your Honor,
This was the $100?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, and
Our
now
roofing
let's talk about
contractor.
underneath this is the kitchen?
Yes, Your Honor. And
Okay, let's talk about that.
Okay. So she called us because the drain was stuffed up.
Okay.
There was nothing that I received any report of the damage that was underneath it subsequent to that.
Right, but sometimes Grant doesn't tell you every little thing, or you're fired, Grant.
Exactly.
Right.
So, and he does have a long list of things to do. And you can see that she does have a few items right there in order to take the photo, but there might have been...
Everyone has a few
Exactly.
items under their sink.
We were
that
not
damage is right under the pipe and looks like it would come from something under the pipe.
That would be the drain, which is not under pressure, but over time. So that That is something that we would repair had we known about it.
How long
and
did you
given
wait for that
opportunity.
one?
Your Honor, I waited a couple of weeks just to hear back about the repair, but Grant basically said that since the clog was fixed, that the repair was finished.
Oh, he said he wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
Right. And what say you to that?
I have no record of her ever reporting that leak underneath the sink, only that
All right.
the sink was stuffed up.
That one was a 175, and then we've got the one for 100. I agree with you on both of those. That's $275. I do not agree with you on the bar. I think you upgraded the bar, and you're not going to pass that cost off on the landlord.
Thank you,
Can
Your
I?
Honor.
Wait, don't get too excited. I'm not done with you.
Coming up.
Did you ever tell Grant, don't prioritize the people who've been here a long time because they're paying too little rent? I'm barely making it on those apartments. Did you ever say that?
Not in those words.
You're watching Emmy-nominated Justice for the People with Judge Milian. We're back with a dispute between Pamela Henson and Charles Johnson over apartment repairs.
Let me ask you a question. Did you ever tell Grant, hey, don't prioritize the people who've been here a long time because they're paying too little rent. I'm barely making it on those apartments. Did you ever say that to Grant?
No, not in those words.
Oh, were there some other words?
There are other words.
What are the other words that you used?
We have to do triage like in a hospital. If someone comes in with a rash on their elbow and someone comes in with a gunshot
That
wound,
means you order them in terms of urgency.
Correct.
But what would how long I've been renting there have to do with how urgent my repair is?
Absolutely
It's just
nothing.
less urgent to you
No, it
because
has-
you're not making a big enough margin? Because that's the part that's illegal.
the length of time of their tenancy has nothing to do with it. If anything, we appreciate the tenants that have been there longer.
No, you don't. No, stop. I'm not an idiot. Okay, and neither are you. All right, you do not, it's not, that's great that she's a tenant there. It's great that if she's happy, but at some point she has overstayed her welcome in a rent-controlled apartment because you can't raise her rent in 8 years. So at some point, your feeling is, I thought this was America. And then her feeling is, oh, now you're punishing me because I'm a long, because you're now feeling the hurt of the rent control? Because there are some advantages to rent control too, right? For you as a landlord?
Very, very, very minorly.
Yeah.
And I appreciate
Sell the building.
I appreciate your view on that.
I've been a tenant, I've been a landlord.
Yes.
I understand, and there's lots of things I don't agree with. I understand, the decision that some cities may make on rent control, and then you gotta play by the rules of the game.
Yes. We've
Okay?
had-
And you don't get to. I don't know that you deny that you said anything directly to Grant. I told her, wow, that was suspicious that you heard that conversation. Did she ever tell you that? Is this the first time you hear me say
This is
this?
the first time I'm hearing about it.
Okay.
Judge Milian's verdict when Justice for the People returns. You're watching Emmy-nominated Justice for the People with Judge Milian.
Because if Grant is actually saying that, if there's not in so many words, when you say not in so many words, in what words did you tell him don't take care of those because they've been there too long?
That the priorities are the things that are not aesthetic, but they're more urgent.
Okay, that's not in so many words. That's an absolute positive no, Judge. I never said that.
Correct.
Right.
I'll
But you're
take it
telling
back.
me not in so many words. I'm expecting to catch you at something. And what you're telling me is just, hey, prioritize the priorities, the urgencies. That is how a landlord should do the repairs. And the landlord should also staff it well enough to be able to get to them in a reasonable time. So you may need more than one handyman. How many units are you handling?
This particular property has 12 units.
Okay, but
we
this
have-
handyman is just for this building or for all your
No.
building?
He has several buildings under his.
Okay, so how many units total is this one handyman handling? 100?
No, I wouldn't
Less
say
than
that.
100.
Yes,
That's
this
a
is
lot
one
for
of our
one
larger
handyman,
properties. We have a couple of
All right.
duplexes.
Well, hop to it a little sooner than you're doing.
We
All
would
right,
love
but
to.
the two that I can see are definitely something she should get paid for. Is it $275 for the sink and for the ceiling? On the bar, you're on your own, honey.
Thank you.
All rise.
Judge Milian has ruled in favor of the plaintiff. The defendant owes $275.
I'm just grateful today that I was compensated.
Thank you for your 8 years that have been there, and I hope you truly appreciate the rent control and the great deal that you're getting.
This has been a production of Allen Media Group.